In the chaotic world of American politics, few figures loom as large as former President Donald Trump. His magnetic influence over the Republican Party has been nearly unshakable since his rise to power in 2016. But as the political winds shift ahead of the 2024 election, cracks are starting to form in the Trump-led GOP. From misinformation about climate disasters to baseless claims about immigration policies, Trump's stream of lies has grown so outrageous that even some of his most loyal supporters are beginning to speak out. Republican leaders, who once held steadfast to the MAGA movement, are now openly calling out the former president's disinformation campaign, marking a pivotal moment in GOP politics. As hurricanes batter the southern United States and a barrage of falsehoods from Trump-flood social media, this revolt within the Republican Party couldn't be more timely. With prominent figures like Senator Tom Tillis, Mayor Glenn Jacobs, and others distancing themselves from Trump's wild conspiracy theories, the GOP appears to be undergoing an internal reckoning. Could this be the beginning of the end for Trump's stranglehold on the party? Or is it merely a momentary flicker of dissent in a sea of unwavering loyalty? This video delves into the escalating tension within the Republican Party, examining how key leaders are stepping forward to combat Trump's misinformation and what this revolt could mean for the future of the GOP. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. We're on the road to reaching 1,000 subscribers, but we can't do it without you. So if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe right now. And if you're already subscribed, give this video a thumbs up and leave a comment to let me know your thoughts. Alright, let's dive right into it. Misinformation has long been a tool in Trump's political arsenal, but his recent claims following natural disasters have pushed even his closest allies to their breaking point. Take his statements regarding the hurricane-ravaged areas of North Carolina, where he falsely claimed that FEMA funding was being siphoned away to support illegal immigrants. This is not just a simple misunderstanding. It's a blatant lie designed to stoke fear and division. Trump's assertions have been debunked by numerous sources, including CNN's fact-checker Daniel Dale, who noted that Trump also lied about $1 billion being stolen from FEMA, about rescue helicopters not being deployed, and that only $750 was being provided to victims who lost their homes. As hurricanes intensified due to climate change, Trump's disinformation machine went into overdrive. His baseless claims about the federal government's response efforts sent ripples of chaos through the affected communities. Misinformation spreads quickly, especially in areas with limited access to reliable media sources, and for many caught in the aftermath of the hurricanes, these lies become their reality. What makes this different from Trump's usual tactics is that members of his own party are now speaking out. Republican officials in hard-hit areas like North Carolina and Tennessee have begun publicly pushing back against Trump's falsehoods, marking a significant shift in their previous unwillingness to confront him directly. One of the most notable figures to challenge Trump's rhetoric is North Carolina Senator Tom Tillis. Known for his loyalty to the GOP and often to Trump himself, Tillis couldn't stay silent in the face of such blatant disinformation. During an interview on CBS's Face the Nation, Tillis was asked about Trump's claims that FEMA resources were being misallocated. Tillis was clear. While he agreed that there were issues with the Biden administration's border policies, the flow of resources to hurricane victims had not been affected. He also emphasized that the government had the resources needed to respond effectively to the disaster. Tillis's comments may seem like a small correction, but in the broader context of Republican politics, it's a rare public challenge to Trump's falsehoods. This isn't a Democrat or a member of the media fact-checking the former president. It's a Republican senator, a man who has stood by Trump in the past, openly pushing back against misinformation. Similarly, Glenn Jacobs, the mayor of Knox County, Tennessee, and a staunch Trump supporter, took to social media to debunk conspiracy theories circulating in the wake of the hurricanes. Jacobs, better known to many by his professional wrestling persona Kane from WWE, took a firm stand against the false claims that FEMA was confiscating supplies from hurricane victims. In a Twitter post, Jacobs wrote, "FEMA nor anyone else is confiscating supplies. Please quit spreading those rumors as they are counterproductive to response efforts." Jacobs' statement was notable for another reason. He's a dedicated Trump supporter and a card-carrying member of the MAGA movement. For him to publicly reject the disinformation spread by his own political faction represents a growing divide within the Republican ranks. Although he did not name Trump directly, it's clear that Jacobs was addressing the same misinformation that the former president had helped to fuel. While some Republicans are beginning to openly challenge Trump's lies, many more remain silent in public while voicing concerns behind closed doors. According to reports, several Republican leaders have grown increasingly frustrated with Trump's behavior, but are reluctant to call him out by name for fear of alienating his base. For instance, an anonymous former Trump aide recently revealed that during the 2018 California wildfires, Trump had to be convinced to support federal disaster relief efforts only after being shown that Republican voters in Orange County were affected. This anecdote, published by Politico, highlights the transactional nature of Trump's decision-making and the deep discontent it has caused among more traditional Republicans. Even so, most GOP leaders continue to toe the party line publicly, only acknowledging the misinformation in vague terms. Tennessee Governor Bill Lee, another Republican, addressed the spread of conspiracy theories surrounding FEMA and hurricane relief, stating, "There's a lot of misinformation out there, and it's deeply unfortunate." However, like many of his peers, Lee stopped short of naming Trump as the source of this misinformation. It's a familiar pattern. Republicans condemn the lies, but refuse to directly criticize the man responsible for them. This reluctance has been a hallmark of the GOP's relationship with Trump, even as his most outlandish claims grow harder to defend. A growing disconnect. GOP versus Trump. Trump's disinformation campaign doesn't stop with hurricanes. His persistent lies about immigration policies, voter fraud, and climate change have widened the gap between himself and some members of the GOP. But despite the growing disconnect, the fear of alienating Trump's fervent base keeps many Republicans from fully breaking away. That's not to say there hasn't been a slow, simmering revolt. As Trump ramps up his attacks on everything from FEMA to the federal government's handling of the border crisis, more Republicans are beginning to speak out. The question is, will they go far enough? In the lead-up to the 2024 election, Trump's outrageous claims are no longer just a distraction. They're becoming a liability for the Republican Party. His most loyal supporters may still defend him, but there's a growing recognition within the GOP that Trump's lies are unsustainable in the long term. Behind the scenes, party leaders are grappling with how to distance themselves from Trump's brand of politics without alienating his core supporters. The impact on the 2024 election. With the 2024 election looming, this internal division within the Republican Party could have far-reaching consequences. Trump remains the de facto leader of the GOP, but as his lies become more outlandish and his grip on the truth increasingly tenuous, Republicans are faced with a difficult decision: continue to support him or risk alienating his base by confronting him. Some GOP leaders are already signaling that they're ready to move on from Trump. Figures like Glenn Jacobs and Tom Tillis may not be calling for Trump to step aside, but their public challenges to his misinformation show that they're willing to break ranks when it comes to defending the truth. The question is whether this growing dissatisfaction will translate into action come election time. It's possible that many Republicans, fed up with Trump's antics, will voice their displeasure in the privacy of the voting booth, even if they won't do so publicly. This silent rebellion could be a significant factor in determining the outcome of the 2024 election, especially if Trump's lies continue to erode trust in the party. Donald Trump's hold on the Republican Party is not as ironclad as it once seemed. His relentless spread of misinformation, particularly in the wake of natural disasters, and his baseless claims about government policies, has sparked a growing revolt within the GOP. Prominent Republicans like Senator Tom Tillis and Mayor Glenn Jacobs have begun to push back against Trump's lies, signaling that the party may be on the verge of a significant shift. However, while these public challenges to Trump's disinformation are noteworthy, they fall short of directly confronting the former president. As long as GOP leaders refuse to call out Trump by name, his influence will continue to loom large over the party. The upcoming 2024 election will be a critical test of whether the Republican Party can break free from Trump's grasp, or if his brand of politics will continue to define the GOP for years to come. The growing discontent among Republican leaders may mark the beginning of a new chapter for the party. But for now, Trump's lies remain a powerful force. Only time will tell if this internal revolt will be enough to unseat him as the party's figurehead. One thing is certain: as more Republicans speak out against Trump's outrageous claims, the GOP's future hangs in the balance.